Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. It's me. I know what you must be thinking. What the hell is going on? Is this 2016 or 17 again? Why, no, it's not. I just watched a movie and I don't want to pay full price for it, so I'm going to write it off as a tax thing, and that's what this is about. So, I just went to go see, of all movies, What Men Want. Now, I know what you must be thinking. Hey, Surreal, why the hell would you go see that movie? Well, the answer is simple. I am a huge Leverage fan. You can call me a leverage mark if you want to. And my boy Hardison, aka Aldous Hodge, was in the movie. Now, I didn't want to go see this movie. I saw the trailer for this movie when I went to go see another movie, and I thought to myself, this movie looks like it's going to be hot garbage. And then I saw Aldous Hodge in the trailer, and I was like, damn, am I actually going to have to go watch this movie? And the answer is yes. I unfortunately had to go see this movie because there was nothing in my Leverage fandom that would make me not see this movie. And not only Leverage, I really like Aldous Hodge. And if we're being perfectly honest, Aldous Hodge was the best part of this movie, especially if you knew any of his work. Especially if you are a Leverage fan and you see Hardison in some of his reactions and all this other stuff. I will say this, his hairline needed some work. Sorry, brother, your hairline needed some work. But the rest of the movie was great. What's going on, Rarely? The rest of his performance in the movie was great. This movie was not nearly the train wreck. Well, I'm not sure about back. I'm writing off my movie experience today by broadcasting this for tax purposes. So if the IRS is watching, yeah, I'm sure I'm officially back. So What Men Want was not nearly the train wreck I thought it was going to be. It was not nearly the, I know, me too. It was not nearly the over political, hit you over the head type bullshit that I thought it was going to be. It wasn't great, but it was fine. If you want the short version of my review of this, if I remember, and I got to think back because this was a couple years ago, the reviews were on a $15 scale. I would say this is probably okay. I'll go through the review and think about it. So, as we start this thing off, Taraji P. Henson, who I like, was in a good lane where I like her in this movie. Actually, I don't like her as Cookie on Empire. I think Cookie on Empire is way too much, but I do like her in certain roles, and she was in a good lane here with the role that she played as Ali, this sports agent. I don't know why all these stupid comedy movies have to take place in a marketing or sports agency, but fine, whatever. So she was good in this role. She had an assistant. You know the story. You saw the stupid Mel Gibson movie. You saw the trailers, because a lot of this movie was in the trailers, and God help me, I hate when movies do that. Now, they got a lot of the trailer shit out of the way early, which is good, because I feel like if you're going to give away everything in the damn movie, you might as well just have that out in the beginning so everybody can get on with their day. So, Taraji P. Henson's at a bachelorette party for her girl Tamala Jones. And by the way, god damn, I love me some Tamala Jones. I don't know Tamala Jones was in this movie either. What are your thoughts on All Elite Wrestling? Any chance for wrestlers to get paid is a good thing. And any competition for Vince McMahon is a good thing. Yeah, long and short of it, yeah. So you saw the movie. She takes this tea. She falls in this ridiculous bump the head. It's totally oversold that stupid Phantom shot in that goddamn club, and wakes up and she can hear men's thoughts. Now, Most of the time during this movie, I was thinking the same thing that Cinema Sins was thinking when they reviewed What Men Want, and it's like, what are the fucking rules of these powers? How can she hear certain thoughts, but not every thought all the time? Wouldn't she go crazy? Is it a proximity thing? If it's a proximity thing, how come we're not hearing just random thoughts blown all the goddamn time? So you're back to making vids again. I'm making this video because I don't want to pay full price for this damn movie. It wasn't worth paying full price for this movie. It is worth paying full price for this movie and writing it off on your taxes at the end of 2019. So I'm at least making this movie or this video. So yeah, she falls, she hits her head, she can hear men's thoughts. The fucking powers, the rules of this universe aren't clear enough, but for the target audience, I guess the general census is who cares. Another thing is the difference between this movie and probably What Women Want, which I didn't see, but I just saw the cinema sins of it. The other difference is this movie, and they got some of it right. If you're walking around listening to men's thoughts, a lot of it's just going to be sex. That's pretty much it. I don't know why it wasn't just 90 minutes of her walking around hearing guys talk about, you know, in their heads thinking about how much they would have tap ass. They got a lot of that right. It was pretty suggestive. Like they got a good portion of that, but it wasn't nearly enough. Anyway, so she gets these powers. Standard rom-com bullshit where, you know, she meets Aldous Hodge, my boy. The only reason I came to go see this goddamn movie in the first place. And he's good, charming, all that other shit that made me like him in the fuck. I forgot to go validate my parking. All that shit that made me like him in the first place. That's him. That's my boy Aldous Hodge. So she meets him, they have sex. She falls in love with him. He spouts all this bullshit in his head. Some of this stuff. So you saw this in the trailer where they were in the pool hall, and she was like, "I bet you want that waitress who wasn't nearly as hot as the other two." And I think they cast her for a reason. And he was like, "Why would I want that? What I got you right here." No man ever really thinks that. Stop. That was a grown-worthy fucking moment. That having like, what the fuck? What are we like? I get, I'm not the target demo, but does the target demo really fall for that shit? Here's the thing. I heard a couple awes. The answer is yes. The answer is they really fucking fall for that shit. God knows why. Anyway, so LeVar Ball, aka Tracy Morgan in this movie. Tracy Morgan's in this movie, and Tracy Morgan is apparently the biggest star in this movie, aside from Taraji, because he's the one on the damn billboards with her, even though he's kind of just he's a co-star. He's in it not nearly as much, but I guess his name and face recognition is bigger, so they put him on the posters. He's playing LeVar Ball. His son is a basketball player who's not playing Lonzo Ball, but he's playing LeVar Ball. He's, you know, it's a pretty good job, actually. And I'm not a huge Tracy Morgan fan either, but that was good casting. If I was going to cast Tracy Morgan as anything, LeVar Ball, yeah, it's good fucking casting. So she is trying to recruit Tracy Morgan's son to play basketball for one of the teams or whatever, to be his agent. So she goes through the lengths of pretending that Aldous Hodge is her husband because Tracy Morgan says that he likes a family woman. Well, in typical rom-com fashion, nobody tells anybody fucking anything. And so she doesn't just tell him, "Hey, can you just pretend to be my husband for 2 seconds while I get this deal, and then I can be rich and famous and we can get everything that we want." But no, nobody fucking tells anybody anything. And there was ample opportunity for her to fucking sell. There was, before they met up, there was the actual game that they went to, there was the sex that they had, there was the date that they went on. There were all these chances for her to just say, "Hey, listen, can you just, pretend for a second? But no, he finds out because she ends up losing the deal to one of her co-workers who goes rogue and at the end of the movie somehow is hired back on. No fucking way. Are you fucking kidding me? I was fired and blacklisted from shit for way less than what this guy does. But all of a sudden he's available to fucking come back to this company for what? For a joke in the fucking boardroom that wasn't even fucking funny? Give me a fucking break. Anyway, so he ends up finding out that she invited him to the game just as a ploy to get the deal. He's mad for whatever reason, even though they've established that he's madly in love with her. So it does flip the roles relatively organically, if there is such a thing as flipping the roles organically in a rom-com, where somebody does something that's quote-unquote stupid and they break up with their love interest for another fucking stupid reason, like all the typical rom-com tropes. If there is an organic way of doing that, this movie kind of pulled it off. Some of the jokes were actually better than I thought they would be. I'm going to give this movie a little bit of credit. It was funnier than it had any right to be in different moments. The characters were better than they had any right to be in different moments. There were also moments that felt like some studio head or marketing firm or something threw a line in there just to fucking throw a line in there just to meet some kind of fucking quota. Like near the end, she ends up leaving the firm and opening up her own firm with this guy who she thought was after her throat because he was quote-unquote sexist, but it turns out it was just because she was a dick, which actually was a good part of this movie. They didn't play it up like everybody was fucking sexist. They actually made a point of saying, no, Taraji P. Henson is a fucking shitty person, at least in this movie. So they did a good job in that. And now I gotta find, there it is. Forgot to. So they did a good job in making sure that Taraji P. Henson being an asshole, or people don't dislike her not because she's a woman, but because she's an asshole. So they did a good job in that. Good for them. So one of the problems, but in that meeting, the guy that she opens up the firm with makes a point to say, "Yeah, I'm with her." If you don't know, because you had your head buried in the sand for the last 2 years, and I don't blame you, or maybe you have PTSD from the last 2 years, that was Hillary Clinton's shitty ass slogan on her campaign. Was "I'm with her." That was a terrible slogan, and they force-fed it into this movie near the end. Now, speaking of the end, one of the problems I had with this movie was once it reached that point where they break up, her and Aldous, once they reached that point, it went on for way too fucking long. Once they reached that point where they broke up, the reconciliation with everybody whose life she ruined, at a certain point, it was like, okay, can we? It felt like this movie was about 15 minutes too long. Looking at the running time, it's not actually that long. It's a decent enough running time, but it felt like it was too long because that last part just dragged. They didn't know what to do once they got to the part where they needed to reconcile everything, where they needed to get everybody back together, where they needed to make her a good person. Because they spent so much time, at least near the second act, making her such a bitch, such a dick, such an asshole, such a mean person, because I'm going to try to use gender neutral terms. They spent so long making her such a bitch. And trust me, I know and have worked with these kinds of women, and I'm pretty sure they would say the same thing, where they're like, you just think that because I'm a woman. It's like, no, I think that because you're acting like a fucking asshole. But they spent so much time doing that in the second act, and this fucking weird ass scene with the wedding near the end of the second act. That was such a cheap comedy spot for women, and it was literally like It was right on the verge of some Tyler Perry shit, which I wasn't a fan of. And I did check. This time Tyler Perry had nothing to do with this production. But it was such on the verge of some like weird ass third act Tyler Perry shit that he would throw into one of his shitty ass movies. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. But Tamala Jones looked fucking delicious in that fucking wedding dress. God damn. Anyway, so we get to near the end of the movie. They finally start reconciling shit. She speaks with her father, played by Richard Roundtree, who I accidentally met just a couple days ago. Him and fucking Robert Townsend and I saw Professor Ogilvy. I wasn't trying to talk to him, but I did. Yeah, Tyler Perry's awful. But I did talk to Richard Roundtree. He's cool. I did talk to Robert Townsend. He's cool. Anyway, Richard Roundtree's in this movie. He plays her dad. He's a cool cat. Aldous Hodge is a cool cat. Overall, this movie is decent. Overall, this movie is not worth $15, which is part of the reason why I'm streaming this review of it right now, so that I at least get something on the back end when I claim my taxes next year. But out of $15, I would say What Men Want, but it's better than it had any right to be, and it's better than the trailers made it out to be. Erykah Badu is pretty good, is decent, is damn good. She's funny in it. She's very fucking funny in it, surprisingly so. So I would say, I don't know, has Erykah Badu ever acted in anything? I'm sure she has. I just don't remember ever seeing her acting in anything. So overall, What Men Want, I would probably say out of $15, better than it had any right to be. My expectations coming into this were super fucking low. So I'm gonna say out of 15, I'm gonna say What Men Want is actually probably, I feel like 975 is a good number. I feel like 975 is a good number because it's an because if it wasn't for that gimmick, it would still be, it would be just another average rom-com flick. So, or at least the setting would. A lot of the stuff in it would be average rom-com shit. Now, one thing I do want to say is that the soundtrack to this movie I have heard in many a black girl's car when I was riding with her, including one who, if she watches this, she's gonna know who she is. So I'm not gonna say what her name is, but she knows who she is. Driven with her, yes. I've heard the sound. It was like TLC, Jill Scott. It was like all the greatest black girl songs that either they feel inspirational to, or their club hits, they fucking feel sexy to, or whatever. They may be playing before a date or whatever. Like, it's all this shit came from mixed CDs I've heard in cars over the last 10 years or so. 10 years ago or so. So yeah, overall I'd say maybe 975. I say maybe 975 out of 15. It's better than it had any right to be. It's not great. Let's see some comments while I'm paying for my parking. This is the first time. By the way, this is the first time I'm ever doing this on my phone like this with the comments and everything. This is dope. What do you think of Ricochet? Spot Monkey. No, he's super dope. Obviously. He's super dope. Obviously, super talented. Like, I would say he needs. Oh wait, over here. He's super dope. I would say he's a little Spot Monkey at times. Like that halftime Heat show, I think halftime Heat probably should have ended.
Insert into reader the exit facility. Please insert your parking ticket with the stripe facing up and to the right.
Actually, I think I'm good. That halftime Heat match, I think, probably should have ended a couple of kicks or two beforehand, but he is very good. He's got Yeah, obviously, he's very good. Let's see. What else before I hop up? Actually, I'm going to probably take the stairs so I don't lose service. Before I end this thing, Tyler Perry is bad. Is this a one-time thing? What do you think of the state of Raw? Is this a one-time thing? For the time being, yes. I don't know what's going to happen a little bit later. At the very least, as far as the IRS is concerned, yeah, sure, it's back. If for no other reason, so I can write off this movie ticket. But I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that I am in a better place than I was before. So possibly not. What do you think of the state of Raw? I don't watch Raw. I don't have cable. So I don't watch Raw. I hear about it on the podcast. Doesn't sound great. It's fucking 3 hours. I don't need 3 hours of Vince McMahon's psychotropic dreams every fucking week with all these fucking highlights and reruns of highlights that we just saw 5 minutes ago and Michael Cole's fucking voice and all this other shit. I don't need that. I hear from the podcast that it's not great. I can understand why the podcast is saying it's not great. I'm not thrilled about these call-ups. I would rather they have stayed in NXT. And if the state of Raw is any indication from what we see on the pay-per-views, I'm not a huge fan. So, as of right now, I'm in the parking garage. I'm probably going to get cut off. So at this point, I'm just going to say, at least for now, peace. I'm just on my phone when I'm watching Raw. Yeah, that doesn't sound like an encouraging thought. I am making liberal use of the network and watching old superstars right now. Those are fantastic, if for no other reason for some of the cringe values. Do yourself a favor. If you want to be entertained, go into the vault in WWE Network, watch the old superstars, and look for Virgil promos. They are just as terrible as you think they're going to be and more. Go watch Virgil promos. But yeah, as of right now, at least for now,